Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Well, today we're taking a trip into the world of alien encounters and some pretty mind-bending ideas about, well, reality itself.
Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, we're focusing on a website called antiexistentialithea.gr, which, by the way, translates to Can You Stand the Truth?
Oh, I like that. Straight to the point.
Right, and they've got this article that really caught our eye. It's called Estado de Salo.
Okay, so for those of us who don't speak Greek,
basically, it means, are they preparing a new hybrid species of human?
hybrid species, huh? Now that's getting my attention.
Definitely grabs you, right. So we're going to dig into this website, see what they're all about, and try to unpack some of these, well, pretty wild theories.
I'm all for it, though gotta say, I'm always a bit skeptical when a website's name basically challenges you to handle the truth.
Yeah, I hear you. It's like, are they trying to be provocative? Or do they actually think they have some kind of insider knowledge? Who knows? But that's part of the fun, right? Sifting through it all.
Absolutely. Healthy skepticism is key.
All right.
But let's dive in. What's the first stop on this truth-seeking journey?
Well, they kick things off by talking about alien abductions. And they present it as, like, more than just some fringe theory.
Okay, more than just people misinterpreting dreams or having a bit too much fun with science fiction.
Exactly. They actually lean pretty heavily on the work of this Harvard professor, John Mack.
John Mack, the psychiatrist.
Yeah, him. He was a big name in this whole UFO and abduction scene.
He was. And to be fair, he wasn't just some, basement-dwelling conspiracy theorist. The guy was a professor at Harvard, former Air Force, directed a program researching unusual events.
So he brought some serious credibility to the table.
He did, which is why his work was so, well, controversial, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Because he was taking these accounts seriously,
Right, not dismissing them outright. And what kind of stuff was he finding?
Well, he interviewed a ton of people who claimed to have been abducted, like over 200.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and he documented physical evidence, too, like unexplained marks and cuts on their bodies.
Hold on, so we're talking about actual physical evidence here, not just stories.
Not just stories. He even looked into disappearances that were corroborated by multiple witnesses. Stuff that couldn't be easily explained away.
Okay, now that is getting interesting. So it sounds like he was trying to apply a more, I don't know, rigorous scientific approach to this whole phenomenon.
Yeah, you could say that. He was trying to bring some legitimacy to a field that was, often seen as the domain of kooks and conspiracy nuts.
And the website seems to be following in his footsteps, at least to some extent.
Yeah, they're building on that foundation. But they also go a step further by talking about this concept of alien implants.
Implants, like in people's bodies.
Exactly. They mentioned videos showcasing supposed surgical removals of these implants and analyses, supposedly, that suggest they could be used for tracking or even control.
Wow, okay. Now that is getting a little creepy. Do they give any specifics about these implants, like what they're made of or how they supposedly work?
That's where things get a bit vague, to be honest.
Yeah.
They mention analyses, but the details are, well, lacking. Makes you wonder, right? Is it credible science or just more speculation?
It's a good question, one we should definitely keep in mind as we go deeper. But this whole implant thing, it ties into the big question this article is asking. Are aliens creating a hybrid species?
Ah, yes, the hybrid question.
Yeah.
And to explore that, they take us on a little detour into conspiracy theory land, specifically the Dulce base.
The Dulce base. Okay, I'm vaguely familiar with that one. Refresh my memory.
So the theory goes that there's this underground facility in New Mexico called the Dulce base. And it's basically where all these human-alien hybrids are being kept and experimented on.
Right. I remember hearing about this, like some kind of secret government project in cahoots with aliens.
That's the gist of it. And the website actually shares this supposed testimony from a Dulce base worker. This guy claims to have seen all sorts of strange creatures down there.
Creatures? Like what kind of creatures are we talking about?
I mean, it gets pretty wild. He describes these beings with multiple legs, like a mix between humans and octopuses. And then there are these reptilian humanoids that make these weird clicking noises.
Okay, that is definitely getting into sci-fi territory. Hard to know what to make of that. But so this worker, he's claiming to have seen all this with his own eyes.
That's what he says. And it gets even weirder. He talks about these hairy creatures with human hands that emit these, like, baby-like cries.
Okay, that's both creepy and kind of sad. But I mean,
Yeah.
how much stock can we really put into these kinds of accounts? It's one guy's word against, well, everything we think we know about reality.
Right. It's definitely a case of extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. But what's interesting is that this idea of hybrid creation, it doesn't just pop up on this website.
Oh, yeah. Well, where else have you come across it?
Well, there's this researcher, Dr. David Jacobs, who also studied alien abductions extensively, and he had this theory.
Wait, wasn't he the one who claimed that the whole point of alien abductions was to create a hybrid race?
Bingo. He documented a ton of cases that seemed to support this theory, including this one involving an Italian woman who claimed to have been impregnated with an alien embryo.
I remember reading about that. It's a pretty wild story. But why? Why would aliens be so interested in creating hybrids with humans?
Well, there are a few different theories floating around. Some people believe that aliens are trying to save their own species by merging with us. Others think it's more about creating a new, superior race that can survive some impending catastrophe. Kind of like what Eric von Daniken wrote about in The Second Coming Has Already Begun.
So, are they our saviors or our captors? Are they trying to help us or use us? It's kind of hard to tell from these accounts. And to make things even more confusing, the website also suggests that these beings might not even be extraterrestrial.
Right, they bring up the possibility that they could be extra-dimensional.
Extra-dimensional. So not from another planet, but from another dimension altogether.
Exactly. And that really throws a wrench into our understanding of things, doesn't it? I mean, what does it even mean to be extra-dimensional?
Right. It's like my brain is already struggling to wrap itself around the idea of aliens from another planet. Now we're talking about beings from beyond our known reality.
It's definitely a mind-bender. And it raises some pretty big questions about, well, everything. Like if these beings are from other dimensions, how are they even interacting with our world? And what does that say about the nature of reality itself?
Yeah, I think we might need a whole other deep dive just to unpack that concept. But before we spiral too far down that rabbit hole, let's shift gears a bit and talk about another big theme that this website explores: the nature of reality itself.
Oh yeah, they get pretty philosophical, don't they?
Yeah, they drew up this line that really stuck with me. Beliefs are implants.
That's a provocative statement.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think they mean by that?
Well, it seems like they're suggesting that our understanding of, well, pretty much everything good and evil, social norms, all of it might be manipulated by forces outside of our control.
So like we're not really in control of our own minds.
Yeah.
Our beliefs are being programmed into us.
That's what it sounds like. And it ties into this whole idea that's gaining traction these days, the idea that we might be living in a simulated reality.
In Matrix, huh?
Exactly. They even reference this article called "Scientist Claims We Are Artificial Intelligence Characters. The Proof is in the Bible."
Yeah, what? The Bible? Proof of a simulated reality. Now, I'm really curious about this scientist. What kind of field are they even in?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It seems like a pretty wild claim, but hey, that's antiexastanalthea.gr for you. Always pushing the boundaries.
Definitely not afraid to stir the pot, that's for sure. But I'm feeling a little overwhelmed here. We've got aliens, hybrids, implants, simulated realities, ancient texts. It's a lot to process.
I know, right? My head is spinning. I think we need to take a break, let all this information sink in, and then come back to try and make sense of it all. All right, we're back. Still trying to wrap our heads around all this wild stuff from antiexastanalthea.gr.
It's definitely a lot to take in.
Yeah, we were just talking about this idea that our reality might be simulated, our beliefs, like, implanted in our minds.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Big time.
Yeah.
Like, what if we're not really in control of our own thoughts?
I mean, even if we set aside the whole simulation theory for a minute, this question of where our beliefs come from is still pretty important. Like, how much of what we think and believe is truly our own, and how much is influenced by, external forces.
It's like if a tree falls in a forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? But in this case, it's more like if a belief is implanted in your mind and you never question it, is it really your belief?
Wow, that's a great analogy. It really highlights why critical thinking is so crucial.
Right. Especially these days with all the information overload we're constantly bombarded with.
Absolutely. We're drowning in it. From the news to social media, advertising, even our education systems, there are so many voices trying to tell us what to think, what to believe.
Yeah, it's like everyone's got an agenda.
Exactly. So being able to sort through all that noise, to discern fact from fiction, to question assumptions, that's more important now than ever.
So it's not just about escaping some hypothetical matrix. It's about, like, freeing our minds in the real world.
Exactly. Breaking free from those limiting beliefs and ideologies that keep us trapped in, these narrow ways of seeing things.
And that's where this website's emphasis on spiritual liberation comes in, right?
I think so. It's about recognizing our inherent power, our ability to choose what we believe, to create our own reality. you know.
It's kind of like that Plato's cave allegory, right? The people chained up, only seeing shadows. They think that's all there is. But then one person escapes, sees the sun, and realizes there's a whole other world out there.
Oh, I love that connection. It's like this website is trying to show us the way out of our own metaphorical caves, encouraging us to see beyond the limitations of our current perception.
And they seem to be hinting that one way to do that is by exploring these ancient spiritual texts, like the Tibetan and Egyptian books of the dead.
Right, they keep referencing these texts as if they hold some kind of key to unlocking a deeper understanding of reality.
Okay, so we've got alien abductions, simulated realities, ancient spiritual texts. It's like they're throwing everything at us but the kitchen sink.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's like they're saying, hey, wake up. There's more to life than what you've been told.
And they're not giving us all the answers, are they? It's more like they're giving us clues, nudging us to do our own research, our own soul searching.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're not trying to spoon feed us some prepackaged truth. They're encouraging us to question everything, to think for ourselves, to become seekers, not just followers.
Seekers, I like that. But where are we supposed to be seeking? What are we even looking for?
Well, it seems like the ultimate goal is self-discovery, right? Understanding who we are, why we're here, what our purpose is.
And maybe those answers lie beyond the confines of our physical world, beyond the limits of our current understanding of reality. Maybe we need to expand our consciousness to really grasp what's going on.
Exactly. And that brings us to another interesting aspect of this website, their perspective on climate change.
Oh yeah, they definitely didn't shy away from that topic.
No, they didn't. But they approach it from a very unique angle, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it wasn't your typical humans are destroying the planet narrative.
Right. They acknowledge the impact of human actions, but they suggest it's not the whole story.
They talk about these larger cosmic shifts, like something's happening on a solar system level, maybe even galactic. And that's somehow influencing the changes we're seeing on Earth.
Yeah, it's like they're saying we're part of this grand cosmic dance. The music's changing.
Which kind of puts things in perspective, doesn't it? Like, maybe we're not as in control as we think we are.
It's humbling, for sure. But it's also kind of exciting, isn't it? Thinking about ourselves as part of this vast, interconnected web of life, energy, consciousness.
Yeah, it makes those late-night existential crises a little more bearable, knowing we're not just alone on this little blue planet spinning aimlessly through space.
Exactly. There's something bigger going on here, something we might not fully understand, but we're all a part of it.
Which brings us back to those aliens, right? The ones who might be orchestrating all of this, or at least playing a role in the grand scheme of things.
Right, the website throws out so many different possibilities about them. Are they benevolent beings guiding our evolution? Or are they manipulating us for their own nefarious purposes? It's hard to say.
It's like they're saying, here are some ideas, ponder them, see what resonates with you.
Exactly. They're not giving us a definitive answer, but they're definitely sparking our imaginations and encouraging us to think outside the box.
Think outside the box, question everything, and don't be afraid to explore the unknown. I'm getting that message loud and clear.
Me too. And honestly, in a world that often feels so rigid and defined, that's a pretty refreshing message, isn't it? To embrace the mystery, to acknowledge that we don't have all the answers.
Yeah, it's liberating in a way. So where do we go from here? We've got all this information swirling around in our heads. What do we do with it? All right, so we've made it through this pretty dense thicket of information on antiexistentialithea.gr.
Yeah, my head's still buzzing a bit.
Mine too. We've covered so much ground: alien encounters, hybrid species, the nature of reality, climate change, and a whole lot more. It's a lot to digest.
Definitely. So now that we've had some time to process it all, what do you think? What are some of the key takeaways from this deep dive?
You know, one thing that really struck me is this website's emphasis on personal empowerment.
Yeah, they're really pushing that idea, aren't they?
It's like their main message, no matter what specific topic they're talking about. They constantly urge their readers to become critical thinkers, to question their beliefs, to really be discerning about the information they're consuming, which, you know, in today's world is a pretty valuable skill.
Absolutely. We're bombarded with information from all sides, so it's easy to get swept up in the tide and just accept whatever we're told.
Yeah.
But they're saying, hey, don't just take our word for it, or anyone else's for that matter. Think for yourself.
Exactly. And it's not just about critical thinking. They also talk a lot about this concept of spiritual liberation.
Right, that keeps coming up. But what do they actually mean by that? I think it's about recognizing that we're not just passive observers in this reality. We have the power to shape our experiences, to choose our beliefs, to create our own destinies. It's about breaking free from fear-based thinking and really tapping into our full potential.
It reminds me of something Carl Sagan once said: "We are a way for the cosmos to know itself."
I love that quote.
It's like maybe this website is encouraging us to tap into that cosmic awareness, to see ourselves as part of something much bigger than just our individual lives.
And that connects back to their perspective on climate change, right? They're not just saying that humans are destroying the planet. They're suggesting it might be part of a larger cosmic shift, a kind of evolutionary dance that we're all participating in.
Right. So it's not about feeling powerless in the face of these huge forces. It's about recognizing our own agency and responsibility within this grand scheme of things. It all kind of ties back to that ancient Hermetic principle: as above, so below. Maybe the mysteries of the universe are reflected within us, and by exploring those outer mysteries, we're also exploring the depths of our own being.
Wow, that's a really interesting way to put it. And maybe that's the ultimate takeaway from this deep dive into antexistenalithea.gr. They've given us a lot to think about, some of it pretty out there, but at the core, their message seems to be awaken to your own potential.
Yeah, question everything, explore the unknown, embrace the mystery. Don't be afraid to challenge your own beliefs and to look for answers in unexpected places.
And who knows, maybe in the process of searching for those answers, we'll discover something truly amazing about ourselves and the universe we inhabit.
Well, folks, there you have it, our deep dive into the world of antexistenalithea.gr. We hope you found it as thought-provoking as we did. We encourage you to check out the website for yourselves, see what resonates with you, and maybe even share your own thoughts and interpretations.
Yeah, let's keep the conversation going.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep those minds open. Happy diving.